Well, good afternoon, traders, and welcome to the first market analysis for 2018, Monday, the 8th of January. Before we do get started, as always, please understand that any advice in today's session is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. Okay, let's have a look at what we have in store for this week. It is the start of the year. Traditionally, the market really doesn't pick up till around about the 15th or 16th of the month. Most of the professional money stops trading, shall we say, from probably mid-December to mid-January. They take a bit of time off. But nevertheless, we'll carry on. We'll see what's on hand and what's available. It doesn't prevent us from gaining a lot of experience in the market, and of course, if you're not trading at massive volumes, it doesn't really affect us in any case. In terms of fundamentals, everything's a little bit quiet. We're just still in catch-up mode. So what I'm showing you right now is really the highlights of the major news events for this coming week. As you can see, it is very, very light, with really the only highlights, I guess, locally. We have Australian retail sales numbers, and that's on Thursday. And then pretty much at the end of the session on Saturday morning, or should we call it late Friday night, we have retail sales and CPI numbers coming from the US. Okay, other than that, there's nothing else majorly market impacting. Perhaps the manufacturing numbers from the UK on Wednesday, which I've just highlighted right now. Other than that, there really isn't much to talk about. So a little bit light, and it's understandable. It is the start of the year. Given those circumstances, I think the pair that's going to be the most susceptible to news this week is going to be our own Aussie US dollar pair. Okay, now for those of you who are newer to these classes, these times that I'm showing you are in my local time, which is Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Times, or otherwise known as Sydney time. Okay, so there you have it. Let me bring my charts forward. Let's analyze the major pairs. Let's see what's happening, where the opportunities are, how we can start to begin to chart and navigate our way for the trading year. So let me do that now. We'll kick off. If you do have any questions at any stage, please just type them in. As I see them, I will do my best to answer them as we go along. Okay, kick it off. Aussie dollar. All right, so let me just set everything up. Aussie dollar. When I look at this, I started to look at the charts. I was back at work last week, so I started to look last week. The first thing that I naturally see is the number of days that we had sort of green candles throughout this section. So there is a strategy, which is a statistical based strategy, that I sometimes refer to. Some of you have been with me for a little bit longer, would have heard me talk about it in the past. It's when we get at least eight, or at the very, very least 7, but I prefer 8 or more consecutive candles in one direction, and which is pretty much what happened over here, where we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one here is slightly green. It doesn't look like it right now. 7, 8, 9. We had 10 in one direction, and normally it doesn't mean that the market's going to pull back a significant amount, but what we look for is a reversal day. It didn't happen yesterday, but it does look like it's happening today. As you can see, we're so far producing a red day. Now, it's a little bit too late for us on our Monday class, because with this candle's well and truly in its motion, but traditionally this is a type of trade that whenever I do see, I always like, and it's a higher probability type trade, so I always tend to take that one. Now, we have missed that, so I can't take that right now, but let me just have a zoom out and see what else is available for us on the Aussie dollar. Let me start to draw some lines. Let's see what levels feel good and don't feel right, and let's see if we can start to project something. Okay, the only line that I really want to draw in right now, I'm just going to start to mark them out. Now I'm going to draw 2, but I'm going to draw one off the bottom here, and I also want to draw one off this level. So let me ask a question, and let's take this as a little bit of a learning opportunity. I'm going to call that line A, and I'm going to call this one B. And the question that I'm asking everybody, and for those of you who are newer, please try and interact with me. It makes it more fun for me. You will extract more from what I'm thinking by talking to me. Is line A or is line B correct? A or B, or if you feel that they're both correct, tell me that as well. So everybody, please answer. If you don't know and are completely no idea, then just type in a question mark so that at least I know that you're thinking about it, but you're just not quite sure. Okay, and I will give you a result of what most people are saying. Okay, more people are saying line A than line B. Okay, now this is a tricky one because for it to be a legitimate low point, we want it to be what we would call a significant point. And if we look at the line A is using this point here, and you look at this is a significant point. It's got a big dip in it, so it is significant. Okay, you look at B's also got a significant point. That one there, that is a significant point as well. So in theory, we could say they're both correct. When I analyze it from a further away, from this, looking at it from this angle that I'm showing you right now, I would tend to favor this line more. Okay, it has a deeper inflection, but if someone drew this one here, I would also accept it. Okay, so therefore what I'm doing is I'm going to keep them both on because I want to monitor them both, and if I get the correct setups, I'm happy to trade off either line. So let me zoom in now. So what I'm going to be looking for is, as if one possibility is if this starts to go down, when it starts to get around either one of those two lines, if I actually do get a price action reversal pattern in that area, well then it's a type of trade that I would be very, very happy to definitely participate in. Okay, so that's the first line I want to draw. The second line I want to draw on my chart straight away is I'm going to draw a top line. I'm going to draw it as that right now, but keeping in mind that I don't know if this level is a high point yet, because it may continue to go up, and then what I may have to do is grab this line and adjust it accordingly. Okay, so just as a temporary, I'm just going to leave it there, just so that I know what I'm thinking of. Okay, and we'll see. And now if that top line ends up staying where I've drawn it at that point, then I actually like this line better because it makes more sense to me. Okay, so it's tricky which line we're going to use, and unfortunately only experience will get you better at choosing the lines correctly and the correct placements of them. But what I can say is if you do utilize price action patterns that I've shown you and the ones that I teach, that will eliminate a lot of the guesswork out of it. It will also prevent you from entering incorrect trades many times. Unfortunately, sometimes as well, you may not get a trigger and you'll be feeling like I should have entered that trade and you didn't get a trigger. But that's one of the compromises that we make by using this particular method. All right, so at the moment right now, Aussie dollar, I can't really do anything. We are kind of in no man's land. The only other thing that I noticed and that I looked at was this level there. If I draw a straight line, but if I zoom in, which is basically I'm looking at this significant point over here, this type of trade like that wouldn't really be a double top, okay, because if it's a double top, all this area here, I would have wanted it down here. Okay, so for a proper double top, it would have been something like this, up to a level, and then the probability of this type of trade would have been correct. But because all of this is occurring above that level, it's not really a double top, and that's why I have not highlighted it, and this is why I'm deleting that line right now, just in case anybody has asked me the question. All right, so Aussie dollar, right now we are doing nothing. If anybody did trade off the 8 straight days in one direction, well, then you would be in trades. I do have a position on that, but it's too late for us to enter one right now, today, at this particular moment. Okay, all right, let's move along. Let's have a look at the Euro USD. Okay, Euro USD, did you guys catch the daily call this morning? Did anybody who's watched the daily call this morning? Everything is back to normal, by the way. So the daily videos are up. If you're not following me on Twitter, please do so. Then you can receive them as a live message. My Twitter name is ChatFX. So at ChatFX. If you go on Twitter and look me up, you will see it. I think I usually try and send out in that daily call, which is a brief on what's happening today, and always includes what I call the chart of the day. The chart of the day today was this particular one that I'm about to talk about right now, and I always try and deliver it before 10 a.m. Okay, so if I give me one moment, guys, and because I can see some new faces, so give me 1 second and I'll see if I can show you exactly what I mean. So here we go. So this is my Twitter name. Okay. All right. So if you just look up ChatFX, and then when you find me, if you click on follow, you will be notified every time I post something, and I post every morning. This is this morning's, which is basically a video, and in the video, this only goes for about 2.5 minutes. In that video is this particular chart that I'm showing right here, and let's talk about it right now. Okay, Euro USD on a daily timescale. Now, let me zoom out first. I just want to show you a couple of things. Remember just then I showed you a chart and I said this is not a double top because of the reasons that I just explained. Notice this chart comes all the way from underneath, hits a peak, goes back down, and has now gone back to the same peak. This is how a double top works. Had I been above this level and come down up to it, that is the incorrect way to do it. All right. Now this one does qualify as a double top, and on top of that, when I zoom in, I've also got this candle formation right here, which is, what's this one called, guys? Who's alert? What type of candle formation do I have there? It's a reversal. What is it? Anyone? Thank you, Phoebe. It's an inside candle. Okay, so the red one is inside of the green one. All right, so we have an inside candle. So the way that we trade the inside candle, you can go back and review the videos, but just in quick summary, is at the break of the bottom of that red one, we basically enter the trade in this direction. We'll place our stop just above that, the high of candle number one, and should the market break the top side here, then what we're supposed to do is basically cancel out our order. All right, so this is a legitimate one, so I'm going to place this trade right now. Just give me a moment while I set up. What I'm doing is I'm just setting up my mini terminal, but I just made one mistake. 1 second, so just click and drag it, click OK. Do you guys use your mini terminal if you don't know how to use it, just ask us. We can send you some videos, but it just makes my life much easier. So now let me see. From the current price right now, I want to sell, and I am only about 10 pips away from triggering. So my entry is going to be 10 pips away from where I am. And once I'm in, my stop is going to be about 75. So here we go. It's a sell stop. That's what I want. My entry is going to be, I said 10 pips away from where I currently am. My risk is, I'm going to specify a cash risk, and I will risk, what account am I in? Okay, yep. So I'm going to risk, say 250 on this particular one. My stop will be 75 pips, and I'm going to put a take profit of a 2-to-1 target of 150. But when I get to 1-to-1, I may close half the trade or move my stop, and I urge you to think about what you want to do at that point. But just to start it off, I'll just have it as such. All right, so here we go. I'm going to place the order. Okay, and you can see here, so my trade has automatically sized me up at 0.26, and that's going to approximately equal to a 250 AUD risk for myself. Okay, so you can obviously risk whatever you like. My stop and my target are in place, and if I look at the trade, I can see the trade clearly, where that's the entry, this is the stop, and this is the 2-to-1 target. So what I can also do is I can get my mini terminal to manage my trade at the 1-to-1 level. So for example, let me show you how to do that quickly as a refresher for the start of the year. So where do I have I need a full terminal up for this one. So let me just open up a random chart, and let me get a trade terminal onto it. Okay, so I've just opened up a trade terminal, and there's the position, okay, that we're talking about in there. Now the little hammer sign here, I just click on it and then automatic close. Now I've got some templates in there already, but I'm just going to create one. Now the target here was 150 pips. That's the full target. So what I want to do is when I get halfway, which is 150, so when I get to 150, when my order in pips gets to 150 pips, when it gets to 75, which is halfway, when I get to 75, what I want to do is close, and I might choose to close 50% of my trade. I could choose to close 70%, etc., etc. And at the same time, if I want to move the stop to the entry level, I have to make this number match this number there. So make it 75. So what this will actually do is when the trade gets to the 1-to-1 level, it's going to close half the trade, and at the same time it's going to move my stop. So click apply the rules. Now before I click it, just notice here the little hammer, look at the color. After I click it, it changes. See, it's changed, which basically means it's working. Okay, so what will happen now, let me go back to the Euro USD. I can get rid of this now. So what will happen is if it gets to that level, it's going to trigger me into the trade. When it gets to here, which is 75 pips in my direction, or otherwise the 1-to-1 point, and I call it the 1-to-1 point because it's the point at which my risk level is equal to the reward level. Okay, so and this is the where the reward is twice as big. So when it reaches to this level, what will happen is it'll close out half of that 0.26. Remember that 0.26 that I told you? So half of it will get closed out, and then at the same time this stop will move to where I entered, and then the trade will continue, so that if it then comes back and it stops me out, the second half of the trade makes nothing, but I still lock in half the profit. Okay, now, well, as all that was going to happen for me automatically. All I have to do is just make sure that this computer stays on with the auto trading on, and it will do it for me. Okay. All right, so that's done. Euro USD, we've taken a short position. We have not been triggered yet, and we may get triggered throughout the class. All right, GBP USD. Okay, GBP USD. You can see what I started to draw already. I have got a rising wedge. I've got one touch, two touches at the bottom. I've got the one, and I've got the two at the top. So what I'm interested in now is, should the market get to these levels here, I'm interested in a reversal there. And then if it was to come back to this level, I'm interested in a buy in that direction. So at the moment, we are currently right in the middle. So not really looking at anything at this particular point in time. Okay, so the only other thing that I just thought of is if we get to this level, I'll keep an eye on that. If we get to this level here and it's a really nice reversal pattern, you may be interested in taking it a short there based on that and that. But it doesn't look as good. Not in this particular case. It doesn't look as good as the one that we just did. So I would actually prefer that one up there. Okay, so let's just stick with the original plan and let me get rid of this one here. Okay, that's my GBP USD. Let's have a look at the US CAD. Okay, US CAD. Let me zoom out a little bit. Let me see it a bit from a further away. Oh, this one's really, really tough. There's really nothing there. If I go to a 4-hour chart, there's nothing there either. Okay, US CAD, nothing here, guys. So we just jump it and let's move on to the next one. US yen. Okay, US yen, you can see that I started to draw something here. Now, I've already, let me just quickly zoom out. Okay. All right, what I want to show you is I'm just going to drop into a 4-hour chart. And if you go into a 4-hour chart, what do we think of this pattern, guys? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. At the bottom, we got 2 nice touches. Does this look like a nice converging triangle for us? Who likes it? Who does not like it? Yeah, it's looking good. All right, so if I zoom in, there was a setup over here of these 2 candles right there, and in theory, it did trigger, and it tried to push down, but has since rejected. So let's put it to a vote. What do we think? Now, the setup was correct, okay? It is rejecting, so it could be that this particular setup fails, or we could get an opportunity to get a cheaper entry, and perhaps with a smaller risk. The stop would have to still be placed at that level there. We could enter right now at market having a smaller stop, which would give us a smaller distance to reach our 2-to-1 target. All right, who wants to take this trade? A Y for yes, and an N for no. What do we think? I just want to see what the group is feeling. Okay, I need everybody to respond. Okay, very, very interesting. It's like almost 90% of the people in the room right now said no. All right. What about if we had seen this where 2 candles ago, which is only 8 hours ago, would we have said yes? So if this is all we could see, it would have been a proper setup, correct? Do we agree on that much? Okay. All right. So it could just be, well, look, the first thing that I will say about this is these are the types of situations that you need to have something in your trading plan so that you don't second guess yourself. If your trading plan says I'm allowed to enter a late setup if the price is in my favor within X amount of candles, for example, well then great, just do it. All right. If your trading plan says no, you're not allowed to do it. If you don't get it on at the time at that moment, well then that's okay. Then don't take the trade. So I get the feeling that this one just feels like it wants to fail now. This candle's very strong, and I think you guys are probably feeling the same thing, and that's why everybody's saying no. So everyone says no, so we leave it alone. Okay. The shape was a good shape though. This is a almost textbook type setup. So I'm very surprised that most of us said no. All right. So in that case, US yen, I've got nothing for you. For anybody that does want to take it, feel free to go ahead. Let's move along and let's have a look at the Kiwi dollar. Kiwi dollar. Let me zoom out a little. Okay. All right. I'm on a daily. What do we think of this top line, guys? This top line's got a bit of flexibility, so it could go up a little bit more and we're still satisfying. We could even, stretch it and play around with it. So the best bet on this one is what we would like to see. Let me zoom in. It would be good if this candle stayed inside of Friday's candle, and then tomorrow we could just trade it down as an inside candle. That would be the best scenario. Okay. If the current candle keeps pushing up, and let's say it pushes to there like that, well then it would be good that the one after is inside and then we push down. Either way, this top line, I really like it. The line is good. So make sure you mark it and let's just watch it, and we can be a little bit flexible as long as we're still squeezing in those 3 points. Okay, does everybody understand that? So make sure that we're still going through that point, that one, and make it fit onto this one. We're looking for a price action reversal. All right, so there you have it. That's our Kiwi dollar. It could be set tomorrow, the day after. Let's just see what the current candles end up looking like. Gold. What's happening over here? Always zoom out when I first start out just so that I can get a feel for the market. Okay, gold right now is displaying one of those characteristics that I always talk about that I try to stay away from. This low was lower than previous lows. this high so far has broken out. So this was like an inside area, and it's broken in both directions. This type of chart, I need to settle down again. So this one, probably I'm not going to get a setup for a little while, so I'm just going to skip it right over, okay, for the reasons that I've just basically described. Let me look at oil, WTI. We're at a previous high in that level there. So I wonder how much memory the market has. Let me zoom in now. Oh, looking for a pattern there. Nothing. Oh, that's a shame. Okay. It's too much in one direction. So the only thing that the higher probability type trade here is allow oil to come back, look for the price action pattern, and then aim to become a buyer in continuation of the trend. But just bear in mind that this level here is a previous high from all the way back over there somewhere. Okay, but this is still the highest probability type trade, unless it stagnates a little bit and it gives us a really nice price action pattern there, and then we can shoot it back down in this direction. That's also a very nice type of setup. Okay. All right, there you have it. That's my WTI. Let's have a look at the ASX. Final one for the first week back. ASX 200, we are at record highs. Yeah, we are at record highs. Market. What's interesting about this pattern is there's a lot of backwards and forwards for here before the finally breaks out, and it's kicking on. It stopped here a little bit, which was the previous high, which now has been broken. Not interested in shorting. I've got no reason to short. I can't draw any good lines on this, so really the only one is let it pull back and continue the trade. So if you feel that it's gone too far and it's not your cup of tea, well then just sit aside and just watch it until it settles down, and we can perhaps get a couple of support lines, a couple of resistance lines that will give us a bit more clarity into which way we feel we may be able to trade this one. Okay. All right, there you have it. If anybody has any questions, something you want me to look at, please type it in right now. I'll go back and summarize while you type in Aussie dollar. We are at the top. No, we're not. So this line at the top is just temporary, just to see where the holding level is going to be. And then perhaps the bottom line is the one that we're more interested in. So we're waiting for a pullback towards this region. Euro USD, we have just placed a pending sell based on our chart of the day on the daily call, which is a double top. We have not been triggered yet, but our order is in the market. Now, I just want to add, should we not trigger and the market goes up and breaks the top side of this red candle, well then go back and cancel your order out of the market because it will no longer be valid. GBP USD, we're tracking a rising wedge and we're waiting to reach the perimeters before we can look at taking a trade. US CAD, we're in no man's land, we're not touching. Japanese yen, we have a situation where we could take a live trade right now based on a 4-hour chart. We took a vote, we voted no, so we are walking away from it. So even if you felt no, just watch it. Let's just see what happens just out of curiosity. Kiwi dollar, we need to wait for today or tomorrow's candle. We can adjust this line to suit. Let's see if we can get a setup for a selling opportunity on the Kiwi dollar. Gold, we've broken lower and higher, so we're waiting for this one to settle back down. WTI, we're moving exponentially. We need to wait for a pullback for continuation of the trend. And ASX, we've taken our highs, nothing on the horizon, and that's pretty much where we're standing. We'll stand on the sidelines until this one settles down a little bit more. So there you have it, guys, our first class for 2018. I do have some big plans for this year, so just I will let everybody know as it happens, which I want to try and grow our academy, provide more services, and try and look for more favorable conditions to assist us all as traders. We will be doing a trading challenge soon. I don't know the dates yet. Let me settle in and let the markets settle down, and we can perhaps get ready to kick something off. If we don't have any other questions for today, I will see you all next week. Try use these classes. If you come across anything during the week that you don't understand, bring your questions. What I would do is just type them into a Word document so they're already typed in, and then when you rock up, just copy and paste, and I will address them for you as I go along. Other than that, have a great trading week. Keep watching the daily call, which will be out every morning. I try to make it before 10 a.m. as always. All right, guys, take care. Have a great week, and I'll speak to you tomorrow or next Monday. Bye for now.